Welcome to the Power of Design podcast, where we have inspiring conversations that explore the intersection of architecture, construction, and real estate, so we can understand the dynamics and trends that shape an exciting and powerful built environment. This is your host, Jack Osa. Today, we'll be talking to a very special man. His name is David Dooley. David is a true visionary with a curious mind and a relentless work ethic. He is currently the Chief Strategy Officer at CBI Workplace Solutions in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm excited about our conversation because David has been a mentor to me as I build my business and has been very generous, sharing his perspective, wisdom, and network. Today, we spoke about building high-performance teams, leadership, workplace design, organizational culture, and the construction industry. This is my conversation with David Dooley. David, welcome to the Power of Design podcast. How are you today?
Great, Jack. Thanks for having me.
David, you have more than 35 years of experience building businesses and developing high-performance teams. What's the impact you want to have in our community?
Wow, Jack, that's a pretty heavy duty question there. As I look at developing people, changing the lives of people, changing the lives of our clients, changing the lives of our community, paying it forward through mentoring, having fulfillment and engagement both personally and professionally is really how I live my life and how I create impact. I feel like if I can help others be successful and I can pay it forward, just as I had mentors in my life pay it forward for me, then I'm making a difference. And I think if you look back on my career, my ability to attract people to come work with me, empower people, train people, ignite their passion of what they're good about, what their strengths are, and get them focused on their strengths, then I think you can really do some amazing things. You'll hear me say this all the time. In life, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you need to build a team.
That's right. Yeah. And I love that perspective because sometimes, when we just talk about basic business, we're just like exchanging a service or product with the marketplace to get some money in return. But there is a very deeper understanding of we're dealing with people. And during that transaction, we have the opportunity to make that impact you're talking about. So we might as well do both. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
I feel like I'm still a teenager at 56.
You look great.
Grew up here in Charlotte, went to Country Day. My parents have been in Charlotte for over 75 years. Brother lives here in Charlotte. My sister lives in Wilmington. Married a Charlotte family who's been here 120 years, the Hall family. I'm dyslexic, so schoolwork was really hard for me. I struggled in elementary school. Back then, they really didn't know what learning disabilities were all about. My mother was aware enough to realize that, my writing and reading and my ability to actually, execute in the classroom, there was something that was just sort of missing. So in sixth grade, I went off for 2 years to Kildonan School that specialized in teaching dyslexic kids. Really just sort of a self-awareness of what is dyslexia.
Yeah.
And I came back to Charlotte, ended up graduating from Country Day, and ended up going up to Chapel Hill, playing competitive golf, and really, if you've read any of Malcolm Gladwell's books, he's won on David and Goliath about learning disabilities. I feel like that being dyslexic has given me a competitive advantage in a lot of ways.
Sure.
It's built this incredible desire for achievement. When you have your teachers basically tell you that you're dumb and you're not studying and you're not doing your homework, and you're studying and you're not dumb, you sort of get a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I was able to sort of harness my disabilities into highly effective cognitive skills like incredible memory, building deep, meaningful relationships, a great listener, having high EQ. When you're in the service business and you're dealing with lots of dollars and lots of people,
Mm-hmm.
I judge character for a living.
Sure.
All I've got is my time, correct? So I need to make sure that the people that I'm working with or our team's working with have the kind of values, beliefs, and behaviors that they're going to allow us to integrate together and actually do something. So
Yeah.
I feel lucky that I grew up with a learning disability because it's become probably my number one asset in terms of the grit I have today.
Yeah, that's a great story because, we don't have control of the things that happen to us, but we have control of how do we react to those things. And I think that's where our power lies on, okay, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to turn it better, or how to use it. And I think that's a great example of how to just take something and turn it to have a positive impact, not only on your life, but others.
Yeah, totally. I think the key to building a high performance team and the key to really being successful in life is through a concept that I talk about all the time, is self-reflection. Who am I? Okay. Who is David Dooley? In essence, I'm my own CEO. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to build my own brand. I have to be a learner. I've got to create strategy. I've got to market myself every day. I've got to create differentiation. I've got to build a coalition of people. I've got to build community. So I think for me is really identifying what are my core strengths. So we use the Gallup Strength Finders tool. I've been using it for years. My children have it. I have it. And, when you can get people with the right aptitude and the right attitude in their strength zones, then their ability to achieve is incredible.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, 60% of the people that come to work every day are in the wrong job, not in their strength zones,
Mm-hmm.
and are unhappy.
Sure. Yeah, it's very common. How did you get into the construction industry and started applying all those concepts to build high performance team in that industry?
Well, all construction CEOs have history degrees.
Interesting.
I say that facetiously, of course. But, my father was in the construction industry, and his business partner was the late Bob Street, who was a mentor of mine. And Bob, my father was in the construction business. He was president of, at the time, FN Thompson. And, I grew up around a guy that was an entrepreneur and super curious as a person, constantly asking questions, visiting job sites, and just realizing that really, construction is really a culmination of building integrated teams that create teamwork and deliver products. And he had a business partner, the late Bob Street, who at the time, McDivitt Street was one of the largest privately held construction companies in the country. Mm-hmm. And I was 17, 18 years old, and Bob and I just became a mentor in my life. And I did summer internships with him. He put me in marketing and sales and corporate strategy and HR. I didn't have the technical expertise, but neither did he. And he taught me about hiring people. He taught me a lot about culture, taught me a lot about strategy, taught me tremendous about really building relationships, how repeatable relationships can change your life.
Yeah.
And so when I got out of Chapel Hill, playing on the golf team with Davis Love and 5 All-Americans, I realized that perhaps I wasn't going to make a living in golf. I went to work with Bob in 1985 and worked until he died of Lou Gehrig's disease in 1990-91. Tragically, 6 months after running the Marine Marathon, and then I transferred over to RT Dooley, which at the time was about a $20 million business, and really just spent a year just sort of observing, how they ran their business, what their strategy was, what sectors they were working in, and realized that it's hard to compete in a hotbed of construction against people like Jones, Rogers. You had F.N. Thompson. You had Metric. You had a lot of big construction companies in Charlotte at the time. So we couldn't really compete as a general contractor, and I got us really focused on sort of niche parts of the industry. Put together a logo. There wasn't even an RT Dooley logo at the time. Built a marketing business development strategy, and really focused on 2 mutual funds, I'll say, sectors. One was sort of the community building sector, churches, YMCAs, private schools, sort of the jobs that really nobody wants to do because they're political, and the big guys are wanting to build the big buildings. And then started looking at the commercial renovation sector, and that was really back before really interior construction was even a sector, and started hiring really smart people that could run those 2 sectors. And as Malcolm Gladwell says, timing's everything in business. We had NCB and First Union that were really growing through interstate banking consolidation. We started working in branches and started working in their uptown towers, and next thing you know, they were building new towers, and they just took us, and before we knew it, we had a dominant market share. We became the largest interior construction firm in the Southeast. From that, I saw that the technology was really shifting, so I hired Tim Garrison to run our mission critical division. We built a mission critical division that became twice as big as our interior construction division, and then over a 20-year period, we grew our business to $300+ million a year business, and one of the most sought after brands in our industry. And Balfour Beatty bought our business about 10 years ago.
That's a great story. And I guess what's interesting about it is how those concepts about helping people and empowering people, you're just applying them at a different scale. You're doing the same.
So, today my life is filled with people that I help, correct? It's a village, and I'm pretty careful about who I want to spend time with. And, my time's limited, and as I look at how I want to interact in the community, the kind of impact I want to have, with social equality, how I want to grow this business, it's those people that I either got in business or I helped, give opportunity. Those are the same people that are now giving me opportunity.
Right.
I got into workplace because I had a non-compete, with Balfour Beatty. So I could have gotten into any industry. So I picked workplace and have invested in companies that are within the supply chain of construction, and able to deal with our same clients, able to deal with our same architectural partners,
right,
and able to deal with the same GCs and real estate companies in a different way. And it's the companies that can integrate, correct, and learn from each other, and really sort of celebrate what I call collective wisdom, where you can build trust-based teams that you can learn from, you can share ideas, share knowledge, and drive innovation. And those are the kind of teams that can help change the world, help change the industry. And that's really what I've tried to do throughout my career. And as a lifelong learner, I'm constantly trying to sharpen my knife and get better every day.
We'll be right back with more from the Power of Design podcast.
The Power of Design podcast is brought to you by OSA Studio, a multidisciplinary design firm focused on creating impactful experiences through the power of design. We partner with our clients to create buildings, interior spaces, brands, and strategies that help you deliver a successful project. As a minority-owned firm, we are committed to building a diverse platform of curious and driven design professionals so we can together pursue our full potential. For more information, please visit us at www.osastudio.com.
When I started the podcast, I kind of took a step back and, looking at the roles of all the people that create the built environment for our community. You need design, but somebody needs to build that. Somebody needs to negotiate. Somebody needs to make a deal. There are all these elements, and we all need each other and help each other. And you can add value in many different ways in any of those places. And I even see it as design, because you're designing relationships, you're designing strategies. Sometimes I think that people associate design with artistic expression, things that you can see. Yeah. But that ability within your brain and your mind to build those relationships, to me, it's also design. What advice would you give to a younger professional who's kind of starting a career in our industry, and they have big dreams, big aspirations? What advice will you give them?
Get real serious about who they are. Get real with their selves. Look themselves in the mirror and say, who am I? Am I being true to myself? What are my skills? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Who are mentors in my ecosphere that can help change my life? Who are the people in the community that control my fate? And how do I keep learning every day? And how you manage those buckets will have a drastic impact on your ability to be successful. Because I can tell you this, you can't do anything in life without the help of other people.
Yeah.
And it only takes one or two people that can change your life. I happen to have Bob Street, who saw my skills, believed in me, and gave me incredible opportunity at 21 to sit 2 doors down from where he was and be involved in a billion-dollar construction company, to learn about strategy, learn about hiring practices, learn about the power of culture, learn about relationships, learn about business. I had my father, who was a great mentor, that taught me about people, hiring good people, trusting in people, loving your subcontractors, understanding the power of your supply chain. And I had other people like Dave Chadwick, who helped me with community, helped me with my faith. So I've had lots of mentors that have made me better.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are personal friends, either I do business with or friends that I interact with. But I'm careful about my time and who I invest with, because I want to learn.
Yeah.
I want to have fun, but I want to go out and learn. And I don't hang around too many knuckleheads.
Yeah, and I agree with you that the self-reflection piece. I don't know if it's because I'm an introvert, but I spend a lot of time in self-reflection. Really rethinking about how I approach things and why and how can I make it better. And I think somewhere I read that the biggest predictor of success is self-awareness. It's not, it's not money, it's not education, it's how well you know yourself. Because once you become a student of yourself, it's easier for you to get better and to understand. So I will say that, what I get from what you're saying is, number one, you have a relationship with yourself, and you need to make sure that relation is pretty good. And once you're the best version of yourself, you can be a best version to relate to others and start empowering and helping them go to the next level.
Well, I think the biggest thing is for me to understand where my weaknesses and blind spots are. You and I have had conversations around strategy, how to build your business, and where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. But I've been able to realize that I've got weaknesses. Okay, now I can turn those weaknesses into strengths by having the right people to support me.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that there's any one person in any organization that is great at everything. And if you have people that want to control every aspect of the business without really empowering the skilled players or the people that have the real thought leadership, then you're going to have a mediocre operation.
Right.
Process kills entrepreneurship, kills innovation. So, I've always tried to figure out, what are the 4 or 5 key things in a business that you got to have to be successful.
Yeah.
And go out and hire those people that are highly capable and skilled in those areas.
Yeah. What are the businesses you're involved with today, and what's your role in those businesses?
Well, we have a family office that invests in a lot of different companies, just passively investing. My main business here, most of the majority of my time is with CBI. We've grown this business, pretty dramatically. I guess Dave Longo and I got together. This is my 5th year, and we've grown this to, I think we're the 2nd largest Knoll dealer in the country. Grown it lots of ways in hiring great people, starting new offices, driving thought leadership, scaling the business in certain ways. So a lot of my time's here. I serve on several other boards. We have a family farm south of town that's been with us from 1972. I sit on the board there. It's North Corner Haven. So I'm an entrepreneur. So I love building businesses right now. A lot of my focus right now is building CBI. We've got another 5-year plan to really take this business to really double the size of the business over the next 5 years. So I'm highly focused on that.
That's exciting. What will you say is the biggest the biggest challenge your clients are facing today?
Our clients are busy. People are busy. And I think that one of the challenges is slowing down and realizing that the workplace is in full transformational mode, and that what they built 10 years ago or the processes that they use as for workplaces of the futures aren't really relevant today.
Yeah.
And the clients that really want to take a deep dive into learning and understanding the behavioral science around the power of the built environment and how architecture and the built environment can come together through integrated technology, products, services, and offerings can really ignite their brand and change their culture. And we're seeing our most successful clients are engaging us years in advance with the architect to really take a deep dive around, hey, what's working, what's not working within their culture today? How are their teams performing? What are missing elements within their culture that's holding back high performance? And as they look to design new space, they're looking at operational costs, they're looking at real estate efficiencies. So it's really the ability to bring, the partners like you discussed earlier, Jack, great minds with real estate, great minds with architecture, great minds with interior design, great technology, great construction, and then having senior management really have a voice in sort of what that vision is. And I think when you can build an integrated team and work together and break down those barriers where you can be honest with each other, share ideas and best practices, really focus on the data analytics aspect of the business versus the emotional aspect of what you think you want.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get that information, try to get that data, and then that data will really set you free.
Yeah. So if we build those super integrated teams and we have all that data, what would you think be the workplace of, the future, 10, 15 years? How will that look like?
I think technology is going to drive so much of it. I look at my children when they come home, and one's going off to work in New York. Laura's still a junior at Chapel Hill, but they've got their phone, they've got their laptop, and they study in their bedroom. They do spreadsheets at the kitchen table. They go out on the patio and they talk on their phone. They use lots of different areas within the house to learn. I think the office is going to be made up of a lot of different choices, a lot of different places to work. You always have components around agile space for people to learn together. You're going to have some head down space for people that really need quiet time. But the young millennials want interaction. They want to learn from each other. They want to be a part of a team. So I see the workplace of the future as really, very few assigned seating. I think you'll have great technology. You'll have a great brand. You'll have a workplace experience that allows people to use the office in multiple ways during the day. And I think you can have less real estate that way. People are constantly traveling. Let's face it, we spend a lot of time in the workplace.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's not a learning, engaging hub, then the companies that really aren't focused on that, I think, will become less and less competitive, because the people today that we're hiring are so much smarter, more aware of culture, the power of culture, and how the workplace can help them propel themselves in terms of their learning curve and knowledge and mentoring inside the office.
Yeah, and the impact we can have in people's lives. When I started doing workplace design and kind of step back and looking at, typically an adult spend, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 years working and going every day, 8 hours a day to a workplace. So it's where we probably spend most of our lives, most of people. So the chance to have a positive impact is huge. And I think that one of the things that technology is giving us now is the ability to really go back to a more human experience. What you're talking about, interaction, we all crave community and learning and be with each other. And sometimes technology kind of push that apart, but we can also use it to put us together, creating a more informal setting that it feels more, not that machine-like, as just a bunch of desks wearing a sign and you cannot talk to the other. It's more of a community feeling.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think, David, is the biggest differentiator that CBI is bringing to the marketplace in Charlotte?
I think at the end of the day, when you're in the service business, it's all about your people. So I think we've got some really talented people that have a broad range of experience and expertise in thought leadership, whether it be workplace consulting, whether it be data analytics, whether it be operational excellence, whether it be business strategy, whether it be branding, whether it be product offering, whether it be installation, whether it be community building. I just think that we're able to bring a turnkey solution, and we're able to help clients and teams find what I would say is the right heartbeat and balance of their culture.
Yeah.
And when they can find and be real with what their culture is and how their brand sits inside that culture, and how they can use some of our innovative tools, whether it be rapid prototyping, whether it be data analytics, whether it be mock-ups, whether it be, walking through showrooms, sharing technology, sharing knowledge, we can really help change the lives of not only the individuals that work there, but also the company's performance. Yeah. And I think our big differentiator is our nimbleness and our depth and our experience in those buckets. We had a presentation the other day with a Fortune 50 company that's building a world-class facility, and I think we had 5 or 6 stations set up that had thought leaders that really directed each station. One was in community involvement, one was around consulting, one was around operational excellence, one was around product offering, one was around building integrated teams. So it's really our expertise and our ability to bring knowledge and a positive attitude, and also have great products with Knoll and all our other distributors that can really create a really cool office environment. Cool. And I think also we're fun to work with. Bob Street called it the light concept. I'm a big believer that you have to like people, you have to respect people to want to work with them. If people come to work and aren't happy and have a chip on their shoulder, or just, it's hard to get excited. Yeah. So we want to try to gravitate towards those people that build you up every day and make you feel good about what you're doing. And I think we can really help change the process. We can make your company better. We can make the contractor better. We can make the real estate person better by working together.
Sure. David, thank you so much for your time. I'm really happy and excited to be with you, and also want to thank you for your support and your mentorship during my these couple of years that I've been building my business. You have been very generous with your time and your knowledge, and I just want you to know that I really appreciate that.
Well, Jack, I'm so proud about being able to help you. I see the grit, I see your tenacity, I see your desire to get better. I see your compassion in working with others, and you're on the right track. I mean, knowledge is power, and having the opportunity to sit down and have these kind of conversations and is I think very innovative. And I listen to podcasts all the time, and I think learning is power, and and your company and your growth and where you're going. I'm very excited, and you can always count on me, Jack.
Great. Thank you, David. Thank you for listening to the Power of Design podcast. Remember to rate and review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Find out more about Jack and OSA Studio at osastudio.com and follow us on Instagram at The Power of Design Podcast. Thank you.